to amend that because someone just told me that Antonio Brown had one catch the year that the Steelers lost to the Packers. So they have made 2 Super Bowl appearances because he did. I didn't think he was active for the game. He was active for the game. So So there are 2 appearances, no rings, because they lost to the Packers that year. He had 1 catch on the season, though. Here's the amazing thing about that, and it's kind of weird when you think about it. As we've had the wide receiver become the crazy primadonna, and really the generation before them started it, like Michael Irvin, who had great success, started it. Guys who were big in big games started it. But here's the thing. Even Moss had his moments. As the game changed and it went to the more away from the run completely to the balance, Jerry Rice, dominant wide receiver, won a lot. Michael Irvin, dominant wide receiver, won a lot. Swan and Stallworth, enormous impact on the games, won a lot. Multiple Super Bowls for all those great receivers. Marvin Harrison, go down the line. Moss, Owens had played great in the Super Bowl. I know he was a pain in the neck, but played great in that Super Bowl he played in. You've seen the generation before these guys have do a lot more winning than this group has done. And this group gets all the money. You realize it's not just the big 3. You look at the contracts that Evans has. You look at the contract that Hopkins has. You look at the contract that Green has. All those guys are making a fortune. And they've all had tremendous numbers, but they don't win. None of them win. So why are you going to cater and break the bank when you can't show me any of them winning? That is not what is winning championships. These guys haven't even flooded the Super Bowl. 8 of them, they've played in 2 Super Bowls. And these guys are getting paid over $500 million. So it's not just Beckham. He might be the noisiest. Brown's pretty noisy, too. Julio's gotten a little more noisy in recent years. I think it's more frustration for not finding the end zone than anything else. And he should have won a Super Bowl, to be fair. It wasn't his fault that he didn't win a Super Bowl. He did everything he had to do, and he should have won a Super Bowl. So that should have been amended right there. But am I going to worry? How many years am I going to sit here with this team? And this team, because the prescription here, where everybody is just going to worry about getting the ball to Beckham, and that Beckham's happy, when does that philosophy, when does that idea of running this team stop? When after his stay here, they are 29-47. When does it stop? They're not even close to win. That's not how you win. That's not what made the Giants win. The Giants won because they had good, gritty offensive linemen, and they always had a big pass rush, which now they have is probably the worst pass rush in the league. I know Shermer threw Vernon under the bus. You know why? He has been god-awful this year. Maybe he's playing hurt. He missed a lot of games. He might be playing hurt. Would you pay him? You wouldn't pay him a dime the way he's played this year. He hasn't done anything. And all he's done is come back and get penalties. So the Giants now, when have you ever seen the Giants have no pass rush? The idea that this is the way you want the Giants to be built, where they can't stop the run, they can't block for the run, and they can't sack the quarterback, is everything that is atypical to what the Giants have been built on their whole lives. And it's not working. And all we hear about is Eli. Enough already. You want to sit through 5 more years of this? I'm so tired of hearing it every day. I come out of this week's game and I got to worry about the fact that Beckham, the coaches got to explain that, yes, Beckham was designed on balls that the ball went down the field to other guys, and now we have to explain that it was designed for Beckham, even though the play was connected? Come on. Jerry and Rye, what's up, Jerry?
Well, I'll tell you, the middle rounds of the draft. Jerry Reese, I hate to say it because my name's Jerry.
No, he was terrible.
But you're right, the middle rounds of the draft picks,
which is where you get your linemen.
We're not good.
Which is where you get your linemen. You expect to get linemen.
And just the other problem, of course, we had great offensive lines when we won the Super Bowl.
Very underrated. See, they had big stars on the defensive line or at linebacker. That was the Giant way. When the Giants beat the Pats, Strahan was a Hall of Famer. And listen, Strahan and I never got along, but Strahan was a Hall of Fame player. I never took that away from him a day. I didn't like some of the stuff he pulled. But, again, as a player, no, I never criticized Strahan as a player. I couldn't. There was nothing to criticize. Not only that, he was a two-way player. He not only got to the quarterback, he played the run. He was a good player. He was a Hall of Fame player. And Tuck was an incredibly underrated player when he's in his prime. Hey, you could have made Tuck the MVP along with Eli. He deserved it. He had a great game. And they went into that game saying that they knew that they had to block Tuck and Tuck could wreck the game. And Tuck wrecked the game. No question about it. And they have had great underrated linemen going back to Bob Cratch. Deal. You know about Oates. You know about Snee. You know about Sean. You know about the guys who people know, but the guys you don't know, Soybert, Cratch, the guys you forgot about. Even Deal. Deal was a tremendously solid player at multiple positions. These guys could step in and get the job done. Whether they had to step in a tackle, step in a goal, wherever they had to step in a play. They were tough. They were gritty. You know what they were? They were Giants. That's what the Giants stand for. Giants don't have any grittiness now. Now it's about, can we synchronize the offense? Can we synchronize? Can we make sure to get the ball in the right spot to the right player so he's happy? Happy. That's all I hear about is happy. Who cares if the player's happy? Win the damn game. I don't care if you have all unhappy players. If you're, 10-2, what the heck do you care? You know who'll be happy? The fans, the owner. That's who'll be happy. If I'm the owner, I want to be happy. I don't care if the players are happy. I'm paying the players. Win the games. Then we can all be miserable at the Super Bowl. Marty in Huntington. What's up, Marty?
Mike, I got to give you props, man, for coming on the way you did. I mean, we all feel the same animosity toward this team. Let me tell you something. I'd take one Julian Edelman over all those receivers you named. The kid is all guts. But the reason why I call is this. When you get Sherman on, when you ask him how he came into the season with Eric Flowers still on the offensive line.
That wasn't his call. Listen, that wasn't his call.
One more question.
And he's starting in the league right now, Flowers.
What's that? I didn't hear you.
He's starting right now, Flowers.
Unbelievable. But you come into the season with all guns prepared, and you come in with an offensive line.
They missed every one of the offensive line. They missed on all of them. Now Hernandez might still be a good player. He's a rookie. Okay, that's fine. They made the left tackle has not worked out, and they paid him a ton of money. He has not done a good job. The center, maybe he was going to be a good player. He broke his leg. That's unlucky. The right guard was a terrible buy for $5 million a year for 3 years. It was a terrible buy. Had to cut him. What other team ever cut their starting right tackle and their starting right guard before the season was ever half over? That is an admission of complete ineptitude. But it's more than that. It's this mentality that has permeated this team where nothing is right if Odell Beckham is not happy. This is not about making him happy. It's about winning the damn game. Who cares if you win at 17-14 or 45-41? It doesn't matter. Win. Then everybody's happy. I'm so tired of worried about every week. The story's the same. Oh, is the coach... the coach had to explain to Beckham that, yes, the plays were designed for him, even though they didn't go. Shut up. Jeff and Maspeth. What's up, Jeff?
Yeah, I got 2 points, and I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah,
one, a telltale sign of about what you said about wide receivers. In the 50 years since the merger in 1970, no wide receiver has ever won the NFL MVP.
Well, it's not. Listen, it's not built. It's not a position is going to get a lot of acclaim for for that position. It's really not. It's not their fault because it's going to go for most years to a quarterback, sometimes to a running back who puts up outrageous numbers, or maybe a defensive player who has an LT type of presence, or a Mac type of presence, or a Donald type of presence, someone like that. So the odds on it going to a wide receiver, in the old days it was impossible. Even now, the thing now is the numbers are too ordinary. Everybody's got numbers. Every quarterback has numbers. If you pick out a quarterback right now, they all have numbers. It's not about their numbers. It's about what they do when the game is on the line. That's what it's about. It isn't about numbers, because if I just make it about numbers, they all have numbers. There's no quarterbacks that don't. I mean, you go down the list, any of the decent quarterbacks in the league, no matter who you're talking about, go to any one of them, and they all have representative numbers. They just do. I don't care who you go to. If I go to an okay player, I go to Prescott. People don't even think they think he's a less than an average quarterback at best. He's completing 65% of his passes. He's thrown for 2,400 yards, got 13 touchdowns and 5 picks. That's run of the mill. I go to, give me a run of the mill guy. Give me as a regular run of the mill quarterback. Dalton? Okay, let's go to Dalton just as an example. There's a guy at best middle of the road. For the season. Dalton's numbers, I think, are going to be good. Just got hurt. He went on IR, but here we go. He's completing 62% of his passes, 21 touchdowns, 11 intercepts, 2,600 yards passing. That's a run-of-the-mill year in the NFL. Run-of-the-mill. You got a million guys who got 20 touchdown passes. Dalton, you wouldn't even have thought of Dalton. He's got 20 touchdown passes. 20. You go to Oakland, where maybe he even wants to run Carr out. Let's look at Carr's numbers. Carr's completing 68.5. He's got 2,900 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 8 intercepts. He's on a last-place team. He's completing 69% of his passes. And he's got, 2,800, 2,900 yards. He's on his way to throw for 4,000 yards. There's going to be 15 guys in the league this year throw for 4,000 yards, maybe more. The point is, what separates the men from the boys is what you do when the game's on the line. That's what separates it. That's what, get your team home when the game's on the line, when they're behind in the fourth quarter. That's what separates Luck from one of these guys. Or, all right, you could put up prolific numbers like Mahomes is or Luck, but they also, Luck's down 10 the other day in the fourth quarter. He has the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter. He scores on all 3 drives. That's the guy you want. That's what you're looking for. But it's more than that. And I understand that the game has changed defensively because the rules are so out of whack now that it's not exactly the same way. But you know what? Pass rush still disrupts games. It still does. You cannot win without it. You got to sometime in that game disrupt the game or you can't win. And you still can't let the team line up and run the ball on you. Because if they do that, then there's nothing else. Because that keeps your offense off the field. And that keeps, that's what happened to the Giants in the second half. They couldn't stop the other team from running the ball on them. They couldn't stop them at all. In the last 5 minutes, you knew they weren't going to see the ball again. Those are the things You still want to play in the trenches in this league. Everybody's got playing the pitch and catch game. Everybody. And all these wide receivers got numbers. All of them. All over the place. Who do you think's catching these touchdown passes? Well, now the backs are too. You know, now a guy like Kamara is putting up all these crazy numbers. John in Clifton. What's up, John?
Hey, Michael. Thank you for taking my call. Three points. First, there's a lot of Giant fans, especially the older ones, who lived through the Giants in their glory days, shaking their heads in total agreement. And believe me, your passion and frustration are.
I'm just tired of it. It's been going on every week. It's been going on for 5 years now. I'm just tired of it.
I know. And I agree. Those prima donnas make me sick. That's point one. I think you made a point and didn't even realize it. Look at Belichick in New England. And if you ever notice that when some of his skilled players get a little too big for their britches, off they go.
Well, listen, he can do that.
No big super contract.
I don't try to compare anybody to them because they are run very differently, because they've had such a culture of winning that he is in a very unique position. He's also had an all-world quarterback with him the entire stretch. One of the great quarterbacks of all time, without any argument. Some people think the greatest. That doesn't matter whether you think he's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Doesn't make it. He's one of the greats of all time. We know that. He's an immortal player. And he's been with them every step of the way. Okay? And the anti-Belichick guys will say, look at Belichick's record without him. And you know what? That's fine. That, listen, you can hurt. Just like you look at the Parcells record without Belichick. And you can hurt Parcells. You look at the Belichick record without Brady, you can cream Belichick. Because he doesn't have a record without him. He got fired. Parcells' record's still good. It just doesn't have any championships without Belichick. He still has he still built franchises everywhere he went. Belichick got fired. So, I mean, the point is, there's always a way to attack almost anybody. But, hey, maybe Belichick will stay around and win with another quarterback. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. But they're a hard one to look at because the quarterback is taking less money. He's always been a team guy. You watch how they've handled Gronkowski, which has always been kind of a yin and yang thing. They've been able to keep him under control while he still is a brilliant player. They need him. He's an indispensable player for them. They have a hard time without him. They really do. They're not the same when he doesn't play. He's that one guy. But when you look and see that people are throwing all this money, right? If you're in Tampa right now and you're throwing $80 million at these receivers and you're scoring all these points and losing every game, what are you thinking? Or you're on one of these teams where all these receivers are getting paid all this money and you're not winning any games. What is it telling you? Is the right way to go about it? Well, there's all the top receivers in the league. The only guy that you would now put in that list that is Hill, and he hasn't proved he's going to win yet. He still hasn't won anything yet. We'll see if Andy can do that. Nobody wants to see Andy win more than me. So I hope Andy runs the table this year and wins a Super Bowl because I like him personally. I'd like to see him win a Super Bowl because I think he's a terrific coach and he won't get his due until he does that. But I'm so tired of hearing about whether or not Beckham is happy. And he needs to be, and everything has to be explained to him. And we're worried about whether then the team is connecting with him. Give me a break. Here's what's happened. For 5 years he's been here. Every other conversation's been about him. And the Giants are 29-47. That's reality. Back after this.